All right, what we're going to work on today, well, this morning, is trailer loading. And we have a 4-year-old, and what you say it was? Mountain pleasure horse that you bred and then had to sell when it was young, and you, a year and a half ago, we got it back. Okay? And at one point, your horse did load. If I get any of this wrong, you correct it. I'm trying to remember what you told me though. See, now you can see if I was listening. So it did load at one point, and then little by little it started saying no, no, and then the no's got louder and louder, and now it just really doesn't want to go on. How'd you get it here? Oh, a strong lunge line and a strong friend with the lunge line behind the butt pulling.
I would be the strong friend.
Two people and you lock your arms and she'll go right on? Okay. You don't always have two people? Oh, Lordy. Well, you'd be in trouble if you had two people help load and then you got somewhere and then didn't have them get back. Okay. Is there anything else I should know about this horse? Basically. So she has a cycle problem that locks once in a while. Okay. And so you say when she backs up, sometimes it catches, and then when she gets upset. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, because we was going to work on going forward and going back before we went to the trailer. Okay. So if your pony locks up out here, it ain't the first time, and we ain't got to have a heart attack about it, right? Okay. All right. Y'all have any questions for the owner? Okay. We're going to get started then.
Something embarrassing.
Thank you, Pete. Those of you that haven't met me before, I'm Kenny Harlow, and we're going to work on trailer loading. How many people think that you need a trailer to teach one to load? Raise your hand if you think you need a trailer to teach one to load. Who thinks you don't need a trailer to teach one to load? Well, those of you that just raised your hand are right. You don't need one. When you go to the trailer to load it, you should have already taught it to load. When you get to the trailer, all the cues should be there. So you can actually teach a horse to load real easy just by using a piece of plywood. If you teach them to step up onto a piece of plywood and then back off of it, by the time you get to the trailer, it'll be a piece of cake. So trailer loading to me is nothing more than a leading line. So if you have perfect leading, you have no problems loading. Any horse that doesn't load is a horse that doesn't lead. Because if they lead, they got to load. So what we're going to work on is teaching these horses, this horse, to go forward and go back. I normally start out with reverse. And the reason that I start with reverse is a lot of times when somebody brings a horse to me that doesn't load, it's a horse that doesn't lead well. So if I teach it to back up before I teach it to go forward, what I'm doing is teaching it not to run over me before I add the gas. So going forward is actually the last thing that you need. You need to know that you can back that horse up right away. So what I'll do in the beginning is tap below the knee until the horse takes a step back and then stop tapping. I'll tap below the knee until he steps back and stop tapping. Once the horse gets pretty good with that, and this one's backing up pretty nice there, then what I'll do is I'll tap the ground and then see if he backs up. Then I'll tap the ground for him to back up. Well, then I'm going to add to that a little bit more. What I'll do is I'll put the whip there and just point and see if the horse backs up. I'll point, tap the ground, and then if he's not backing up, I'll tap below the knee. The better that you have that, the less chance you have of getting ran over when that horse gets scared in the trailer. Because when you add fear to any of your training, you're going to lose 50% of whatever you have. So if you have this absolutely perfect, when you get to the trailer, you've only got 50% of it. So I make the backing up better than the going forward. You would be amazed at how many people show up at my house and they ask the girl in the office, is Kenny going to be there to unload my horse? Because I can load it, but I can't back him off the trailer. So in the trailer is not where we want to teach them to back up. Because if we're teaching them to back up in there, then that's where they're going to get hurt. So if we can teach them to back up out here, there's no chance of them getting hurt once we get them in there. Well, the next thing I work on is a go forward cue. And there's a spot right here on their hip, a nice little round circle. Can you all see where that is? That's where I tap, inside that circle.
It's a little bruise.
There's a little round circle right here. That's where I always tap. And the reason that I tap that spot when I want to teach one to go forward is that's where they're least apt to kick. I've seen people where they tap down here and the horses go to kicking. I've seen where people tap right here and they go to kicking. But if you tap on that circle right there, they'll go forward instead of kick. Well, I feel whenever you have a technique that you want to teach a horse something, don't use anything that's going to teach a negative. So, if I can pick a spot where I'm not going to get a horse doing something that I have to scold him for later, then that's what I'm going to do. Well, the next most important thing to think of when you're doing a trailer loading is don't pull. How many of you have seen somebody at a trailer pulling on the rope? Come on, get in, pull. It doesn't work. Because as soon as they feel you pulling, they're going to pull against you. One of the things you said that you had tried was rope halters pulling and then giving to the pressure, and you said that didn't work with this horse, right?
Right.
So that goes to show that that technique does not always work. One thing when I'm loading a problem loader, I always pick a 2-horse trailer, and I do not move the divider over to make life easy. A lot of times when people have trouble, they'll open the divider and see how much room they can get in there, and then they have one person behind them and one person in front of them to get them in. Well, you don't always have 2 people, right? So, I never walk inside the trailer. How many of you, after you get your problem horse loaded, are going to ride down the road with the horse in the trailer? Not very many of you, right? So what ends up happening, when we pull these horses into the trailer, or we lead these horses into the trailer, what we're telling the horse is, everything's going to be okay, then we get them inside there and leave and abandon them. That's when they get scared, freak out, and get hurt, and you call the vet. So, when I load this horse, I want this horse to load because this horse is comfortable. I want this horse to load because it is not afraid of the trailer. So I never go inside the 2-horse trailer with the horse. For one, I've seen people lead them in there and duck underneath that breast bar.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what if the horse does spook as he's coming in? It's going to land right on their back, and they're going to end up with a broken back. And that hurts, huh, Captain? She has a broken back right now, so I figured I'd pick on her on that one. So, I think that you can stay safe if you're out here. Another thing, when I go to a trailer to work on trailer loading, the lesson starts wherever the horse stops. If you notice, I asked this horse to come forward, it stops right here.